Hey VC, this is Mark. Welcome to Vinyl Crush. Today we're doing a contest video for Rob Walker of Let the Music Play. He's been on the vinyl community now for 2 years. He's got a great channel, shows some great records. He's also just one of the nicest guys on the VC. I really like him. So please check out his channel. I'm going to put a link below in the description. Check him out, subscribe. He's got a great channel. Really, in fact, I'm hoping that if I manage to win this contest, that when I come to the UK to visit you, Rob, that you're going to take me on a real car boot sale and we'll go record shopping, and that would be a total kick in the ass for me. I would love that. So the contest is to talk about 5 bands that you wish you could have seen live. So I'm sticking with bands that under the current circumstances I wouldn't be able to see live, not just because of COVID, but because the band isn't together anymore or the people are no longer living. So it was hard to choose 5, even though I have a pretty prolific experience of seeing lots of live music. I've seen bands like Led Zeppelin, and I've just seen so many great bands live. I've seen Yes, I've seen Emerson, Lake and Palmer, I've seen just incredible music, including more current and modern music. Up until COVID, Elise and I used to go out and see music all the time. But there are a few bands, there are more than 5, and I had to leave some off the list. But let's dive in and I'll show you what I got. The first person that I would like to see live on my list is Janis Joplin. This is Pearl. This is her last album. It came out in 1971. The jacket's a little worn, but the record is in really good shape, so I'm really happy about that. This is an original pressing of Pearl. And she left Big Brother and the Holding Company and put out a couple of albums that they just didn't have the magic that she had with Big Brother and the Holding Company. I can understand her leaving the band because they weren't the greatest musicians in the world, but there was a chemistry there and they put out some really good music. But when she put this album together, she had gotten clean and brought in a bunch of really good songs. They were really interesting and vulnerable and just great songs. She recorded an amazing album. Apparently she was so insecure about the record that before it could be released, she had a binge and died of an overdose. She was a heroin addict. So I never got to see her live. This album has Me and Bobby McGee, Cry Cry Baby, and one of my favorite songs of hers, Mercedes Benz, which she sings a cappella. This is a great album, and I would love to, I've seen movies of her performing live. I remember seeing her in the Monterey Pop Festival film, and Mama Cass sitting in the front row watching the show, just in awe. She just completely blown away. To see another performer completely adoring and looking up to a fellow performer was really quite astounding. Almost brings tears to my eyes. So this is the first on my list. I don't think it's number 1. It's just the first one I'm showing. Janis Joplin would love to have seen her live before she passed away. The next person that I would like to see on my list live that I didn't get to see and won't get to see is Bob Marley. This is Bob Marley and the Wailers live. I wasn't even really into Bob Marley back in the 70s. I was really into Zeppelin and stuff like that, a lot of rock and roll, some classical, some jazz, but I didn't really get into reggae until the late 80s, actually. So I never really knew that much about Bob Marley until there wasn't a Bob Marley to know. So I would love to be able to see him live. This album came out in 1975. This is an original US pressing on Island Records. This has I Shot the Sheriff, No Woman, No Cry, Get Up, Stand Up. I think No Woman, No Cry, the version that's on The Legend is a live version from this. And it's just incredibly good. This is a beautiful album and would love to have seen this wonderful reggae master live. The next person on my list is a guitar player, and I love guitar players because I used to play guitar and I really appreciate a good guitar player. That person is Stevie Ray Vaughan. This is The Sky is Crying. It was the last album that was put out. It came out a year after he passed away. It's a comp, really. It's stuff that he did between 84 and 89 before he passed. And there's a lot of covers and a few originals. Amazing album. This is the first press on Epic. It's kind of hard to find. This is such a good album, and I never got to see Stevie live. I would have seen him. I had no idea he was going to disappear that soon, so I just never got to see him. I did see him live on video a number of different ways and times. He did one in Club Macombo in Texas early in his career. Kind of blew me away watching him play. He's so fluid. The distance between him and his guitar is almost non-existent. It's like he's one with the guitar. It's so fluid. His capacity to play the chords and the changes and the solos and keep everything going. He's almost his own rhythm section while he's soloing. It's astounding. And I didn't get to see him live. I would love to have had the opportunity. And great guitar player. I think he's the best blues guitar player that ever lived personally. So the next band on my list is Soul Coughing. The members may still be around, but they broke up years ago. This album is called Ruby Vroom. This is their first album that came out in 1994. This is a first pressing reissue. It came out in 2015. This is the European pressing of that album. It sounds great. It's an amazing record. I listen to this all the time. They really kind of play experimental rock with jazz grooves. Mike Dowdy, the lead singer, he's kind of a 90s beat poet. He calls this deep slacker jazz. But it's really kind of rock and roll, and it swings. The guitar player, he's the singer and the guitar player. He's amazing. He has a great rhythm section. The drummer just kicks ass. He swings and rocks at the same time. The bass player often plays stand-up bass and just kicks ass on it. The songs just groove. They just make you want to get up and move sometimes. It's just an amazing album. The keyboard player does a lot of sampling and brings in all kinds of textures and stuff that are kind of unusual. This is just amazing music, and I would love to have seen them live. So the last person on my list, I was in a position where I was wanting to see this person so desperately, and I'm going to tell you a story about it, but it's Jimi Hendrix. So this is Electric Ladyland. This is the UK press of this on Polydor. I'll show you the cover because it's kind of an iconic cover. But it's an amazing album. This has songs like Crosstown Traffic and Voodoo Child Slight Return, which is one of my favorite rock songs. I think I've talked about this album on another video. That is just such an amazing rock and roll tune. So Hendrix came to Portland in 1968 in September. He was backed up by a couple of bands, including Vanilla Fudge. And my father went to see him. And I begged him to take me. I was 9 years old at the time. In 2 more months, I would have been 10. I wanted to go to see these guys so badly, and he didn't take me. I didn't get to go. So I'm still sitting here wishing that I could have seen Jimi Hendrix live and would love to see him. So I know they just put out a new album of his live in Maui, and there's a movie that goes with it. I'm going to have to just be happy with that, I guess. So those are the 5 albums, the 5 bands that I would like to see live. There's some also rans, but I'm not going to talk about them. Really, I just want to thank Rob Walker for doing the contest and for doing your videos and for all the music you show. I've found some really interesting bands through your channel. I recently bought a first US pressing of a Stiff Little Fingers album that I think you first showed me one of their albums on one of your videos. But great channel, check him out. I'll put a link below. Please subscribe and check out his channel. And thanks for watching.